What's the good word, gentlemen out there? It's your boy Hated. Yeah, I've been slacking. I got no excuses. I've been slacking. It's been, what, 5 days, I suppose, since my Cabaneri review. And I was supposed to get this up. But, I wanted to wait for all 3 episodes. I'm not going to do, this is going to be a Joker's Game review for episode 1. I was going to do all 3 in one episode, but A, the video would be way too long, and B, figure I'd just dice it up for people. So I'm just going to do, this is going to be just episode 1 of Joker's Game. I saw it originally when it aired, like the week it aired, and then I've been keeping up with it. And so now I'm just going to review episode 1. I actually tried reviewing it, and the audio was messed up on parts of it where, like, it wasn't even, I couldn't fix it. Huge chunks of the audio were just gone. So what I ended up doing then was scrapping it and figuring I'll just re-record it. So here I am doing that. So what is Joker's Game? Me putting Joker's Game into a genre is difficult. I'm not really exactly sure you can put it in. There's elements of mystery that I've seen in lots of other mystery anime that I watch. There's suspense. It's very strategic. It's a very strategic and philosophical series. It's pretty deep. It's what I've been asking for an anime for a long time. Going into it, it takes place in Japan in 1937. So you already know what was going on in the world at large during that time. America was still in the midst of the Great Depression, though we were kind of getting out of it. The World War was happening. The Second World War was preparing to begin. So, and we know where Japan ended up there, but this is before that point in time when they made allegiances with Germany and so on and so forth to form the Axis powers. But it's not so much about the World War. This is mainly about Japan during that time, and Japan, their approach to war, their approach to international politics, their approach to being a citizen, what it means to be a Japanese citizen, what it means to be a Japanese citizen during the time of war, what it means to be a soldier, period. And some of that even supersedes the Japanese aspect. It's just period. Joker's Game in itself describes a kind of game where there's a game, it's a multi-leveled game. There's a game happening on the surface level. So in the series, in episode 1, what it is a poker game. Like the people were sitting down playing poker. But that's just a charade. That's not actually the real game that's happening. The poker game is the game that happens on a deeper level than that. It's what's happening with everyone in the room. So even the people that are in the room not actively playing poker are involved in this game and are involved in the Joker Game. I'll get back more into that later. Let's talk about some of the characters. The main character, from what I'm seeing so far of the show, is going to be Sakuma. He is a member of the General Staff Headquarters, and he's sent over as a liaison to another group in the military called the D Agency. It's like this top secret agency where they train and generate spies. They don't actually graduate from the official Japanese military academy. Their real names and ages and information completely off record. It's super secretive. And he's a liaison between that the agency group, not even co-founded, I believe just exclusively founded and ran by Lieutenant Colonel Yuki. He's a liaison between them and his own general staff headquarters. And he's a soldier. He's been raised in the army. That's what he knows. He's a soldier through and through. And you see it not just in his words and his actions, but his philosophies and his answers to the questions that are presented to him, and the way he responds to certain situations. He's a representation of Japan during the disarmament summit, where they went to Washington and were trying to negotiate a deal with America and the other countries. And what ends up happening is that the Joker's Game is a euphemism for that exact thing. It's basically a commentary on Japanese approach to international politics and how you can enter into a game and you're the only one playing by a certain set of rules. Everyone else is playing by another set of rules. This is a very, very deep anime. I was kind of reluctant to even do reviews of it, just because I didn't feel like it would do it justice. There's so much here, and I don't want to spoil it. Like, I really want people to watch this. I think this is the best anime to come out this season, by far, if you ask me. Like, I like a lot of other series, and you'll see me reviewing them on here as well. This takes the cake. Like, this is one of the best animes I've ever seen, and it's only 3 episodes in. So, some quotables from episode 1. When Sakuma first meets Yuki, he's dressed up in formal suit and tie attire, and he meets Yuki and he bows to him after a formal greeting. And like, one of the first things Yuki says to him is, "Who?" And I'm paraphrasing. Like, "Who bows while wearing a suit and tie?" It's kind of like he's saying, like, you're acting as if you are a samurai, but you don't look like a samurai. Like, you're presented in a very Western way. And it's like, why are you doing that if you're willing to kowtow to the Western ideal image of what a man should look like and dress like and behave to? Like, but then you still want to hold on to, like, the Japanese manner of introduction and formality. Like, it was very confusing to them. It's like, I guess he was trying to, I mean, I looked at it as like a mind game, because Yuki's very sharp. So he's probably trying to learn as much as he can about people when he first meets them. So he's probably trying to see what kind of person Sakuma is. But he says that to him, and it was just kind of funny to me, because I was like, I never thought about that. Like, a lot of that, you could see a lot of that, even now, I guess, in a sense. They wear the business suits and whatnot, but they act very much like very traditionalist. And I respect that part of them, but it's kind of like, why do that while wearing a business suit? Like, that's kind of confusing to me. And I mean, this show is stock full with quotables. Like, I thought Kabaneri had a lot of quotables. Nah, this show, there's a scene where Miyoshi is explaining to, like, when he's figuring out what the Joker's game is, when he figures out that the Joker's game is a fake game where it's basically a room filled with people, and your task is to get everyone in that room on your side if you can. Get them to feed you information about everyone else that you're going against. That's what the Joker's game is. So even the people who aren't actively playing poker, like my man that was sitting in the back reading a book, or the dude pouring drinks, or the guy smoking, or in a corner cleaning his gun, all those people are playing in the poker in the Joker's game, even though they're not playing the poker's game. So when they reveal to Sakuma, because remember, Sakuma's initial reaction when he lost was like, "All right, well, I lost." And it's like, no, you didn't actually straight up lose the game, dude. We cheated because we weren't playing the same game as you. We're playing a different game. You just weren't informed of it. And he finds out that there was nothing he could really do. Like, the anger you could see in him wasn't so much just based on this idea of honor and his trust being broken. Because remember, he probably came in to play the poker game with them as a form of camaraderie, to get to know these people he's going to be working with, because he doesn't really know a lot about them. And he knows they go out past curfew, but again, this is a person that's been trained for years in that very structured army system. He still holds himself to that curfew, even though there isn't one. So he doesn't go out on the town with them. So he's trying to find a way to get to know them. And he sat down and tried to play a game with them. When he lost, he accepted he lost. He figured, I'm a man. Sometimes these things, he literally says, these things happen. I'll get you next time. And that's when they break down to him that he lost because they cheated. His initial anger wasn't so much just that. It was very conflicted, because you could tell it wasn't just that he wasn't angry that he lost. It was how he lost. It was this sense of everything was stacked against me and everyone knew except me. I think that's really the key here. Everyone knew what was going on except me. That feeling of being left out, that feeling of being a pawn. And that's going to come back up later in later episodes. He doesn't like that. And that's understandable. Like, he's a very proud man. No man would like to find out that essentially you aren't in control of a situation that you're supposed to be in control of. Or you're a pawn for someone else to manipulate and control as they see fit, or use as they see fit, and throw away when they no longer need you. No man, no person really is going to be okay with that. And you can see that in his initial response to that. But anyway, when Miyoshi's explaining the Joker game to him, there's a part where he's explaining his dislike of spies and how he sees spies as very cowardly, and how he is willing to die for his brothers. He's willing to die for his country. He's willing to die for his duty, because it is presented to him by Yuki. What would you do if you were as a spy, if you were found out by someone? And the guy responds, I do one or two things. I try to kill the person who found me out, and if that's not an option, I kill myself. To which it is then revealed that for a spy, death is pointless and foolish because it doesn't change anything. And Sakuma says that, oh, that's just a cowardly response. You guys are just scared of death, essentially. And he goes, well, what's the point of death? Like, what happens after you die? He said, and Sakuma says, oh, well, I go meet my brothers. I go meet the others that, essentially that idea of that after I die, I'm going to go to the afterlife and meet the people that are friends or brothers or, just people I care about or people I know who've gone before me. And I'm going to go meet them there. And he says, well, what happens if you don't meet them there? And that question itself is deep. He's not even saying that there is no afterlife. He's simply saying, what happens if in your afterlife you don't meet these people? So what if you don't go to the same place after you pass? Or what if in the afterlife you just are reincarnated as someone else and you never meet that person again in the next life? Like, there's many interpretations of that. But for Sakuma, it's like, no, that's not possible. I will meet them. That's how it is. And it's a faith-based drive for him. That's when they figured it out. Like, this isn't something that's, logical. This isn't something he knows for a fact. This is something that's been drilled into his mind by his society. And it's very faith-based. There's no foundation for it. It's just something he believes. And Miyoshi hits him with a quote about tautology, where and the quote's basically, I'm paraphrasing here, a man can worship a sardine head with enough faith if he wanted to. Like, you can pick something, and if you believe in it enough and you have enough faith in it, you can worship it. And the reason he's saying that is because Sakuma's idea of doing things just because he can die with honor and then go see these people in the afterlife, like, that's completely faith-based. Like, there's no proof that that's going to happen. Even if you believe in an afterlife, we don't know what is going to happen in an afterlife. We don't know that it's going to be uniform for everyone. But Sakuma doesn't even think about that. It's like he just kind of repeats the things that he's been taught since he was a child, since he was a rookie in the army. Like, he just repeats that stuff because that stuff has been indoctrinated into his mind for years. And they echo that in the series by showing, like, the school children chanting. This is like a subline in episode 2, so I'll get into this in episode 2 more, if I remember. They echo this with the school children chanting, a pledge, essentially, about, the importance of honor, the importance of sustaining the Japanese life and the Japanese empire, and how that's more important than themselves. And it's kind of like, that's not even a very Japanese notion. Like, the idea of patriotism or a nationalistic pride has gotten to that point all over the world. I mean, Napoleon used it in France to basically unify France and make them a very powerful state by telling people he didn't care where you actually were from or what color skin, as long as you were French and you were willing to fight for France, you were French, and that worked for him. We see now in America where it's just like this idea of, land in a free home of the brave and all of that. And people believe these things because they're told these things. When you look at the statistics and you find out we might not be as free as we think, or we might not be the best at everything like we think. But, that's a different discussion. Like I said, there's lots of quotables in this. This is a very deep show. So, yeah. But anyway, we end up finding out about the other members of the agency from Sakuma, because he describes them. He doesn't describe them all individually. He just names them in the first episode. So you get Yugi, who is the founder and the commander, obviously an older person, very experienced, war-torn based on how his body looks. He's kind of in charge of their training. He makes decisions and whatnot. He himself, you can kind of see the hints that he himself is a well-established spy. Then there's 8 characters in the agency. I'll run down their names. All of them aren't important yet just because we haven't had moments of actually learning about them as characters or having them shine yet, but season just started. The most important one that we've met so far is Miyoshi, just because he plays a part in what happens at the second part of the first episode and in the beginning. Like, that scenario they start the series off showing, he's there. He's an integral integral character of that. The other characters I'll delve into more as they get their limelight and their time to shine. Though some of them do have some pretty interesting quotes that happen in this first episode. But anyway, with the eight men that we find out Sakuma technically calls monsters because the training they had to go through. It wasn't just physical training. Like, they show these dudes swimming in the ocean in the middle of winter with no gear on. Like, they were just wearing regular clothing, which in itself is kind of suicidal. But you find out that these people were trained in pretty much everything. They're trained by the top physicists. They're trained in medicine. They're trained in lock-picking ability. Like, just any facet you could think of. They even say they hired gigolos to teach these men how to seduce women. That's a skill the spy might need. So, like, they basically can do everything. And you find out that their minds are like their greatest weapons. These are people that are very, very in tune with a lot of philosophical theory. And honestly, there really isn't a whole lot they can't do. And they have a very progressive mind state for the time period. Again, 1937. They have a very forward-thinking minds for the time period that they are, especially in the location that they are in Japan. They all speak numerous languages, and they're essentially preparing to be shipped off to random parts around the world and live there and be, invisible for 10, 20, who knows how long. Their lives are pretty much determined for them. They're going to be very, very difficult lives. And the funny thing that Sakuma brings up is a very good point, is that the only people that you've gone through this strenuous training with and that can share this experience with you are 7 other people, and you don't even know their real names. You don't know their ages. You don't know anything really about them. All you know about them is the moniker, their code name that's been assigned to them. No one knows their real information. So it's a very interesting dynamic. I would say if you have not started watching this or heard about it, you need to check it out. But anyway, the first episode, the way it begins, it kind of throws you. I like when series do that. Instead of holding your hands and having like lots of text on the screen or a narrator, no. They put you in the action and they frame a scenario that's simple enough for you to kind of glisten the basics of it, realizing they have more time in the episode and more episodes after that to explain it fully. So they put us in a scenario where, without spoiling too much, because it's literally the first minute of the episode. You'll see it. You've probably seen it in trailers. Sakuma and Miyoshi actually approach an alleged spy, an alleged American spy, and they're trying to find evidence of this man being a spy. And Miyoshi tells him, because he's acting as Sakuma's interpreter, because remember, Miyoshi is one of the D agency members. He's fluent in many languages, and they were posing as military police, Japanese military police. Well, it was custom back then for Japanese military police to have an interpreter. Most of them did not speak English. So he posed as Sakuma's interpreter, and he tells the American, even though the American spy, the alleged American spy at this point in time, speaks Japanese fluently. So I'm not really sure why he had to tell him in English. But he tells him in English, I guess is part of the ploy to kind of test Sakuma, that if they don't find evidence, his captain, who in this place is being played by Sakuma, will commit ritual suicide, harikiri, where you open up your own gut, or one of the ritualistic suicide processes that the Japanese had, if they don't find anything there. Which is kind of that's an extreme bet that you would think you'd only do that if you were confident that it was there and you knew where it was at. That's how the series opens. It's kind of wait, what the hell's going on? Like, you just started watching and already someone's about to die. Like, one of the main characters is potentially in the way of death. I love that intro. Like, it was very, very well done. And it kind of brings the episode full circle because it ends with that, except we have more understanding of the characters involved. We get more understanding of the situation involved. And that's how it ends, but it doesn't end with the conclusion of that scenario. That actually carries over to episode 2. So I would say, all in all, if I had to, I don't usually give episodes numerical values. If I had to give this episode a numerical value, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. The opening theme The music for the opening theme, the music in this series, period, is amazing. The opening and closing themes are great. I love the imagery and just the art style of the series, period. Like, this is just very, very well done. This is a very mature anime. So if you're looking for something that kind of offset a lot of the action, or, you know, I mean, I like a lot of sports or action or mech anime. This offsets it pretty well because it's just something different and it's very well done. And there's some potential for some action to come in the future based on the fact that they're spies. This is wartime, so you're probably gonna see some stuff eventually. But it's set up where that's not gonna be the basis. The basis is gonna be the mental game that's being played between these characters. Like this is a great series. I strongly recommend this to anyone who I know or who follows me. I know I've already recommended it to Riku and Charles, and I believe they're checking it out. I don't know. So I don't know if they're going to review it or not. I know Charles isn't, because I think Charles is only doing Carbonari. Riku, I have no idea. I'll talk to him and find out. But this for sure, you're going to see reviews of this from me regularly. In fact, I'm about to go right into review. I'm about to review episode 2 right now, and then review episode 3. And then when episode 4 comes out, I believe this show airs on the weekend. So I'll have a review of that. And from now on, it's just going to be like promptly reviewed whenever these come out. So yeah, this Joker's game is legit. Like, if you are not checking it out, you really need to. The characters are, like, the characters in this series are so awesome. Like, really. I really want to just go in episode 2 right now and tell you stuff, but I'm keeping it separate like I promised. If you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. I mean, the subscribe button is more important, I suppose, but hit them both. It takes a second, you know, and it doesn't hurt anyone, so hit them both. As usual, comment below. Give me your opinions on this series. Give me your opinions on episode 1 or theories you have of what's going to come. Obviously, we're already at a point where we've seen there's 2 more episodes already out. So, but just give me your opinion. Just leave a comment below with your opinion on the series. Leave your comment below with your opinion on the video. Like, if there's any feedback you have, like if I did anything wrong, because I'm still trying to improve and tailor the videos and the channel. Like, leave that below. And as always, have a good day. Hated Greatness. Peace.